Go ahead.
All right, call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move on to our first item, which is public comment. Sure.
Daniel?
Bueller? Okay, nobody here for public comment. All right. All right, we'll move on to board discussion. We have several board meeting minutes to approve. Any questions on any of those minutes? All right, I'm going to take the organizational and the regular Board of Ed meeting from the July 10th and combine those together. Motion to approve those by Kevin, seconded by Kelly. All in favor on that one? All right. And then the organizational, how about the July 31st meeting? Motion to approve that by John, seconded by Mike. All in favor of that one? Got it? All right. Anybody have anything else for board discussion tonight? All right, moving right along to the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. Before I start, I just want to thank Cindy Vos, registrar. She is on the agenda for retirement after 20 years of service. Cindy obviously fills a important role in this organization, and we will move to hopefully fill that leave before she leaves so she can train somebody, because she's got a pretty complex job. She does all of our data, so she's been a valuable employee, and we're going to miss her, and she's going to have some big shoes to fill. So hopefully we can find somebody who's up for the challenge. Thank her, wish her a long, healthy, happy retirement. Summer hiring update, just as I kept the board abreast of our challenges and successes, and I'm happy to say we have a great candidate in the audience with us tonight, as I said earlier, Danielle Friedman. But we've also lost 2 earth science teachers in the last month, within a week of each other. So that's leaving a pretty big gap in the secondary science program. On the agenda is a retired earth science teacher, but still we were short coming into this school year. So it remains a challenge. We have a number of contingency plans going. We have an interview scheduled for Friday. The biggest priority right now is replacing the 7th grade science, general science position. So if anybody's out there and interested in coming to teach, please let us know if you know of anybody with a secondary science certification. This isn't a challenge unique to Gloversville. It's across the state, and I imagine across the country. So, but we've been successful in a number of vacancies, and I'm really pleased with the quality of the candidates that we've been able to put in front of the Board of Education thus far, but the challenges remain. And it is the kind of market where people with multiple years of experience can go and be hired on step or above step. It's become a very competitive environment. And we've seen it coming for a number of years, but it's as bad as I've ever seen it. We have some work to do yet. Capital project update, I'm not going to say a lot because I know Turner's coming to begin of September, but just wanted to say that if you probably noticed, the high school parking lot is painted and the lines are done. That should make traffic flow smoother. The big job this summer was the Kingsborough parking lot. The curbs are laid, they're pouring the curbs are all done. They're going to be putting the parking lot in. The fence is done between 12th Ave and Kingsborough. The playgrounds at all 3 elementary schools will be complete by the end of the summer. A little bit of roof work to be done still, and some secure vestibule work, but overall the project's coming along nicely. No major hiccups at all that I'm aware of. So the Kingsborough job is obviously the most impactful in the community, and there's been some concern. I know the city had a meeting in which people thought that we were creating a one-way road, but quite the contrary. That's obviously the city's call, but it's not our intention, and the way that project was designed was that will no longer need to be one way 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening. All the drop-off will be done on our property, off-street. The bus zone, if you see it, people think the road's narrower than it was. It's not. It's legal. If you look at the sidewalk, the road's is wide. It just looks wider where we are, where our bus zone, and those curbs look like they pop out, but they're actually exactly where they're supposed to be. So the one caveat of that, it will be a 2-lane road as long as the city approves 24/7, 365, so that should help residents in that vicinity. But obviously, that's the city's call. We anticipate it to be a much safer, smoother operation, but one thing that I do need to educate the public on, and we'll work with the GPD to make sure they understand, is when the buses are dropping off in front of Kingsborough and the flashers are up and the stop sign's out, vehicle traffic needs to stop on Kingsborough. So the children will be safe, it's a curbside drop-off, but the law is the law, and there's no separation between our bus drop-off and the street, so there's only a few buses that serve that school, so it shouldn't be that big of a problem, but when those flashers are out, traffic's gonna be enticed to keep moving because they're gonna be removed, but there is no barrier, so they're gonna need to stop. That's gonna be, we'll keep on putting the message out there, but we're gonna need the city police department, obviously, to help us enforce that. Any questions on capital projects and stuff? Okay. Department chair, grade level leader training. Chris, want to speak to that?
Sure. So next Monday, the grade level leaders and department chairs will be coming in for some training with Sam Feeney. He's the consultant who's been working with the district. This is year 3. And Sam, again, is focusing on career factors, job satisfaction throughout the course of this year, and helping the department chairs, grade level leaders, really best lead their colleagues throughout the course of the school year. And there'll be some discussion of a bit of a revised job description and some roles and responsibilities. So that's something we look forward to. We have some really strong department chairs and grade level leaders, and we look forward to getting the most out of them that we possibly can.
We'll do a deeper dive on it at a retreat, but one of the things that obviously is going to be a goal for the summer, which has been we started last year, was our work with Sam Feeney on the recruitment and retention of quality candidates. We want to make sure that those people who come to work at Gloversville like it here, feel valued, and that our professional development is something that they feel is valuable. I think we've come a long way since Dr. Wojcicki joined us in this regard to ensure our professional development is fruitful. And along those lines, you have a new teacher orientation agenda on the next page. If you have any questions, Chris primarily is the person who put this together, obviously with help from a number of people, but it's pretty fruitful 2 days, including a bus tour of the district. I hope we're able to do that. It's important for people to come see the community they're going to serve. So appreciate Chris's leadership on these two.
Just one item of note there, that the first day, so it's a 2-day event, which it's always been a 1 day prior to this year, but we wanted to bring in all new hires on the 22nd. That's the first of the 2 days. That'll include, of course, all of our teachers, but counselors, our school psychologists, as well as our aides and TAs. So everyone that's new to the district this year will be able to come in to, again, hear from Sam Feeney, to hear from our special education department on programs and services that we offer our students who have special needs, and then a presentation from Todd Walker regarding technology and school safety from Mike Etherton. So look forward to those 2 days, 3 days next week.
Hopefully Mike doesn't scare him.
When's the bus tour?
That's on the second day, 23rd. You're not welcome.
I thought you were going to facilitate it.
You're going to drive, I think you're driving the bus. We're going to stop up
Better
on Rico.
mow next week.
That's a turnaround area, isn't it? Chris, I'm going to speak to I don't have the conference day agenda in front of you because it's still a work in progress, but if you want to speak to
Yeah, I
it.
have a draft. It's not in the packet, but we can just run through that quickly. So 2 days for the Welcome Back Conference Days this year, September 5th and 6th. As we always do, we'll begin with some opening remarks from Dave, talk about goals for the year, as well as the introduction of new faculty and staff. I'll tackle that. We will do our required trainings for the day, the right to know regarding hazardous materials, as well as child abuse, sexual harassment, Dignity for All Students Act, those updates for all of our faculty and staff who work with students throughout the course of each day. And we'll be continuing our career factors, job satisfaction work that we began back in March, that we just talked about, that will continue next week as well. And on the first day, our elementary buildings will be focusing on the implementation of CKLA. That's our new reading curriculum. and English Language Arts work at the elementary level, so the 3 elementary buildings will be focusing on that. And then on the 6th, there'll be some time, an hour allotted for union meetings, and then faculty meetings in each building, at least an hour, if not up to 2 hours as necessary. And then we'll have some additional training for our mentors that day, as well as any of the mentors who are unable to attend next week. And our grant coach, Dr. Steve Rapplier, will be with us again to further discuss our multi-tiered systems of support work. We've discussed that before, MTSS, kind of the new version of RTI and AIS supports for our students who might not be achieving at grade level, as well as those who might struggle a bit with their conduct in and out of the classroom. So that work began on July 14th with Dr. Rapplier. We'll continue that over the course of the next 3 school years, so looking forward to that. And last but not least, we'll set aside a few hours for faculty and staff to get in classrooms and prepare for students who come to us on Thursday the 7th.
Any questions? I'm pretty excited about the MTSS work. It's kind of an all-encompassing umbrella that hopefully captures all the different initiatives that we have addressing academic, social, emotional behavior, whatnot throughout the district. This is something New York State is doing in concert with federal requirements and expectations. So we're pleased to be part of this grant. Instructional day expansion letter that I sent to the community, just wanted to provide an opportunity for the board to ask any questions you may have about it. Perhaps your neighbors, friends have read it and have thoughts on it. You know, we did it as the board is well aware, knowing that we had one of the shortest school days of instructional time in the region. You know, picking up 48 hours in the secondary and 60 hours in the primary buildings, can't see how that's a bad thing. Picking up that much instructional hours in the course of the school year could be game changing. I know you think about how much you could learn in 60 hours. And you know, I think our scholars are the beneficiaries of it. We appreciate the union's agreement and cooperation as we look to expand the school day. We've received some concerns from parents. I'm not sure why the concern about elementary times has been a repeating concern. Our elementary schools all concluded their school day at the same time prior to this. So I don't understand that. Like, I can't be in 2 places at once to pick up my children. Well, I don't know what you did last year, but just do the same thing. So that said, I'm not being flippant about the fact that the change has a ripple effect on parents' working schedules and things like that. So we appreciate the fact that there's challenges for parents of our scholars to meet the change that we're asking them to meet, but we expect them to do what they have to do to get their children here, and we're really looking forward to having those expanded school days. Any questions, comments on that? Okay. Next on your packet is the transportation plan. This has not been put out to the public. Really what it is, just captures the various ways we are going to transport children. And this Board of Education has been very supportive before my time as far as funding transportation within the city of Gloversville that is not aidable. Those shuttle runs to the elementary schools, the fact that now that we have a relationship with the city of Gloversville where we pay for the scholars and the parents at the primary level to be able to ride city busing. We sat down, Chris and I sat down with Brent Warren, Director of Transportation for the city. They are not able to provide the same size bus that they did in the past. It's going to be a smaller bus. So we prioritized the east side of the city with 4 stops along Kingsborough Avenue to serve the junior, senior high school. The elementary shuttle runs will continue to run through HFM BOCES as they always have. And the city is also going to have an afternoon pickup at Wolford's Pond and then drop off in those same locations on Kingsborough Avenue. It runs between Fulton Street and State Street. We determined that there wasn't really a safe area to do it the further you go to Park Terrace. It wasn't that we didn't care about that part of the city, but there's not a lot of sidewalks on Kingsborough Avenue going that way. And you had to make a decision, so that's working in concert with Brent Warren, that's what we came up with. We're also working with our own CSEA to provide a bus along Main Street in the morning to serve the junior, senior population. We put it in a contract, the new contract the CSEA provides for members of our own organization. We own the buses, So it'd just be a matter of freeing somebody up, and we have a person in mind now with more in the pipeline, but one now is already ready to do it. And we would have 4 or 5 stops along Main Street in the morning to serve the secondary population. And we would not provide that in the afternoon. That would be a morning service. I mean, Main Street's not that far. A lot of you went to school here and certainly understand that that's, you know, walking through the city to this campus is something that people have done now since the 1960s. So I think the district's commitment to trying to help families get themselves to school safely is commendable, and I think we've done about as much as we can to provide transportation within the city, given the fact that it's not aided by the state of New York. Any thoughts or comments on that?
I just wondered what the ridership was last year, do we know?
Kathy, you have it?
A lot.
I know it's significant.
There was quite a few.
Bus was full nearly
Hey, I
every
wanna
day.
say
It
like
is.
Yes.
I think it was about
The larger
five,
bus was full, right?
5,000 a quarter.
Oh.
Oh, so I mean, but you're talking multiple trips, but, or multiple people, but.
Getting off the bus in the middle school, I would say it's about 30 a day just stop getting off of the middle school last year, not counting whoever got off of the high
Yeah.
school, so it's.
This smaller bus, how many students were that?
I think it's 24 seats and with 6, 8 standing, so roughly 30, 32. So that's why we're gonna try to supplement with that district bus along Main Street, so that'll hopefully alleviate the congestion that we would see on Kingsborough Avenue. Brent seemed to think that it should shake out. You know, we'll see. And I think, I also have had conversations with the mayor about Lincoln Street and the sidewalk by that condemned building. I understand that might be up for sale, or there's an interested party, but the sidewalk on the other side by the DPW building is not necessarily ideal. You know, one of the major thoroughfares of this campus, I feel like we gotta make sure that those sidewalks are safe. During the wintertime, I see kids sometimes in the road because the snowbanks are not kept, or that the people aren't shoveling their sidewalks, whatever the case may be. I think there's work to be done to ensure a safer transport or pathways to school for our city population. One last thing on that, the city also runs a hourly run throughout the city, and they stop at the bottom of Lincoln and West Street at the 55 of every hour all day long, 6:55, 7:55, 8:55, 9:55, and in the afternoon they're stopping there as well. Those are all the runs that go all throughout the city of Gloversville, and that's in addition to everything I just mentioned. So children who don't mind getting here at 6:55, walk up that hill, it's already 7:10, you know, we're starting earlier, you know, you're waiting less amount of time. So that is another option for anybody anywhere in the city, because that goes all over.
I think the note is important for district residents to know that this is not funded by the state, it's not required by the state, but it's something that our district does to make sure that our scholars get to school, that we are partnering with them and with the city to provide this. And I applaud the district.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree, and, you know, I received an email, somebody was put off by my letter, and the fact that I said our largest challenge is academic apathy. And it's in our attendance. I mean, I don't need to argue and say academic apathy is not a problem here. It's absolutely a problem, evidenced by primarily our poor attendance rate. And attendance and performance go hand in hand. There's no question about it. Very rare is a child who can miss a lot of school and thrive. Just occasionally it happens. A gifted kid who is very good at absorbing information, maybe on their own, but by and large, most kids need to be in school to learn. And I think if we can crack that nut and get kids here on a regular basis, we're gonna see more successful outcomes for our scholars. It's not rocket science. And it's not an indictment of people. I understand families have dynamics that make things challenging, but prioritizing your children's education and being in school each and every day when they're not sick has to be a high priority if you want your child to be successful. So, and, you know, it certainly didn't mean any offense to anybody by stating that. I thought it was self-evident. The next document is AI in education is just something that will be a priority for this year. I didn't put anything in here regarding AI, but I went to a conference in Saranac Lake with a number of superintendents. NERC put it on. They had FBI and Microsoft, Mindex, a number of other leaders in the industry reporting. And artificial intelligence in education is something that we need to really expose and discuss and educate ourselves on. It's not going away. How we assess learning is gonna have to be discussed and changed. The idea, when we all were younger and a teacher gave you an assignment to go home, write a 3-paragraph or a 3-page or a 30-page paper, it can be done instantaneously, and you can change the verbiage to fit the grade level of the person that it should be. It's really mind-boggling in some ways when the FBI are telling you that they really have no idea how it works, and there's 100 different AI platforms that are not yet communicating with each other, but in the near future they will be, hitting 1.3 trillion data points instantaneously. It's kind of like, it's hard to grasp. It's hard to grasp. And they were discussing the major events in the dissemination of information, talking with the Gutenberg's printing press, the internet, the mobile phone, the mobile device, and now AI. And 3 out of the 4 that I just mentioned have happened in the last 20 years. And now they're coming quicker. So it's incumbent upon us to be at the front end of it. We cannot ignore it and say, no AI, turn it off in schools. When you're hearing companies say, we are expected to use it in the workplace, to increase efficiency, you have Microsoft saying that 7 out of the next 10 jobs, 7 out of the 10 jobs currently in the tech field are about prompt writing, so how to access AI and pull the information out of it. That's where the careers are in technology, being able to ask the right questions to get the information out of AI. So it's a paradigm shift in our lives, and not just in education, but we'll probably see it more and more in our own lives. I'm sure we already do, we just don't realize it. So something we'll be discussing with staff, and we'll certainly save some time at our retreat to kind of discuss and get direction and guidance from you all about how you want us to proceed. Any questions about that? Glove City Coalition, I'm going to have Kathy discuss this.
We are, Gloversville School District is going to be the fiscal agent for the Glove City Coalition beginning in October. They currently are partnering with CHC in Johnstown, but they are no longer going to be a not-for-profit. In fact, I believe that they're going to be closing. So we are working on writing the grant. Right now, we're working with Center for Disease Control, because they're the ones who are the overseer of the grant. And we're hoping to have all the paperwork in by the end of this week so that we can start moving things around.
So in your packet is Bonnie Peck's resume. Bonnie's the director of the Drug-Free Schools, or excuse me, the Drug-Free Communities Grant. Under this arrangement, she would become a district employee, grant funded, entirely district funded, or excuse me, grant funded, but she would be a district employee. So obviously I just wanted to make sure the board was comfortable with us moving forward. If you are, she would be on the next agenda, and Kathy's agreed to oversee it. If you remember, Bonnie reported out to us in the spring about the survey our scholars took. So there's good work to be done, having her in-house, hopefully provide opportunities maybe for pushing into health classes. There's grant money for educational purposes, not just information finding through surveys. So with the board support, we will continue. Is there any questions about that? Obviously, if the grants go away, unless at that time we would tackle it and see if there's anything we could do, but this isn't new monies. Arming truancy officer. So on here is also Jim Carter's credentials. Jim Carter is fully credentialed to carry a firearm. I think working with Mike Etherton, we would have Mike also qualify Jim, but Jim is already qualified, as you can see from these, from the work he does on the side. I know that we had a conversation months ago about arming Jim, and I just wanted to make sure the board was still comfortable with that. And if not, let me know, because I think he's interested in it. With his current title, Jim can't make any more money. So I don't know if there's a waiver. I gotta look at waivers for safety officers, but I think for truancy officers is not. So if we end up using him in a multifunctional way, beyond just truancy, but also if he's carrying a firearm, he's obviously gonna be expected to respond in the worst-case scenario. So if there's a way for us to compensate him, I would come back to the board along those lines. Any questions about Jim Carter carrying a firearm as Mike Ethelton does? Okay, we will proceed with that. The attached middle school STAR coordinator, the student turnaround room, if you remember, Marissa Gordon brought this concept when she came to us from Mahoneson, I believe. We did it a number of periods last year in the middle school. There was a lot of data that suggested it was helpful. One of the things we were not able to do because of the fact that we have a leaner staff is populated every day, and also we have so many teachers teaching 6 sections, we were kind of losing supervisory duties. So we came up with the idea of having one person doing it. That way the kids are getting a collective message. If a kid was in the turnaround room 2nd period and then again came in 8th period, same person's in there, are gonna know it. They're gonna know the challenges as Scholar discussed with them 2nd period. So creates continuity in that room. And our hope is to go through the CSEA and use an aide, TA, in that capacity, and also look at a stipend because they're going to be asked to do work that's above and beyond what most in that capacity would do. Whether it's communicating with the home, working to de-escalate children. Just wanted to provide a forum for the board to ask any questions, raise any concerns you might have regarding this proposal. We hope that, we have several people in mind we think would be great at it, whether or not that's who will be on the agenda. I think it's important to get the right person. One of the people we know is pursuing a degree in psychology, and seems to have the right disposition, temperament for this role, so.
And it's grant funded.
And it's grant funded. So hopefully to build upon our success we had in that program last year. And along those lines, the high school ISS work-based coordinator, work-based learning coordinators, similar in that we hope to expand and improve our tracking offerings when it comes to work-based learning. And we're hoping to kind of leverage something similar in the high school with a person in that capacity that I think, Christine, I don't want to speak for you, but I think, you know, it's not necessarily etched in stone of what depend on the strengths of the person. Maybe a turnaround room in a high school, the ISS room, could end up mirroring what we're trying to do in the middle school, and those duties would fall in line in that regard. But as the proposal's written, it's a combination of ISS slash work-based learning coordination. So certainly a need that's there. We have 37 scholars, I want to say, who are part of that. So if the board doesn't have any concerns, we will proceed with that as well. Okay, we appreciate your support as always. Excited about the coming school year. I think we've got a great leadership team in place, and we hope to continue advancing this organization in the right direction. That concludes our report.
Thanks. Anybody have any questions? All right, move along to administrative report. Timo?
We're less than a week away from the fall season starting football. Varsity JV football will start this Saturday, the 19th. All the varsity JV sports will start Monday, the 21st. And then the Foothills Council has modified the last couple years to the first week of school. So all modified sports will start Monday, Tuesday, September 5th. Then we're having physicals tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and the 21st for anyone needs a fall makeup physical. I think we have a pretty good relationship with the hospital and our school doctor. We're doing less physicals starting, moving into our season, having that relationship and making it to our hospital. So that's going to start relatively pretty quick. We are short a couple coaches. We're short a modified girls soccer coach. There might be one other, I'd have to look, but we are searching for a modified girls soccer coach. I will be reaching out to some people who have coached soccer in the past to see if they can help us out this year, but the goal is to get a name to the board at the next board meeting. I did receive a phone call from a local district. A baseball coach had asked me with our baseball schedule and spring break next year being the first week of April. A lot of local schools are making a trip down south to Myrtle Beach. So one of the schools had reached out to me very recently and asked, if we'd be interested. And I said I'd have to speak to the board. It would be the first week of April. Our league season or league schedule does not start until April 8th, so it does not impact our league schedule. It just hasn't worked out in the past where, your league schedule or spring breaks second or third week of April, you can't make that spring trip. So I haven't even talked to our Booster Club about it. If I get the green light from the Board of Education to move forward with it, I will reach out to them and we would have to start that process. I do know, found out in the last hour and a half, it is a $1,000 deposit by September. If we're gonna go, it would be the Cal Ripken experience. The kids would stay at their campus. The kids would stay together with the coaches. They wouldn't be staying with their parents. The kids would be housed together. You're required to stay on the Myrtle Beach Cal Ripken experience at their facilities. But there'd be more information that we're gonna have to research, but if we get the green light, we would like to proceed with that for our spring trip.
So I asked, Mike brought this up to me last week, I asked him to come in front of you before we green lighted the expenditure for fundraising. I think it's a great opportunity for our scholar athletes, and as long as any other club that travels, the ratio of supervision is what our policy says it should be. I support it.
It's a great opportunity. I know, I can speak for when I was in high school, our junior year and senior, I think you went as a coach
Yeah.
back then, and it's just an absolute great opportunity for young kids. And it's very rare that it falls, where spring break falls, where it doesn't impact the Foils Council
It
season,
wouldn't
so.
be games, it'd be scrimmages.
Right.
They're not gonna play games, it's gonna be scrimmages.
We went 2 years in a row. It was an absolutely great experience for us. I think we were the first team ever from this area to actually go down south, and it was a great experience.
Would you fly or drive, Mike?
Well, that's the part that we'd have to look at, what our bus expenditure would be. Well, I know one school's, the school that called me, they're flying their kids, they're fundraising to fly, so we would have to look at that.
What's the cost? What's the cost per player?
I think it's $85 to $90 per player at the Ripken experience. Then your food expenditures we have to fundraise. I know last time we went a few years ago, we paid for 2 meals of breakfast and then either a dinner. We were playing during the day. So we have that breakdown, what we spent last time, so it's in the infancy stage. I mean, this is really new. So.
It's not something you can board and vote on, if there's concerns, obviously we want those answered, but if the board's in support, then Mike will continue moving in that direction.
Was there a tattoo law down there where we?
Yeah, no, that wouldn't happen.
No tattoos, no tattoos. Thank you, Mike.
All right.
Any questions for Mike about athletics in general?
How are the numbers looking for fall sports? Does it look good?
Not too bad. We sent a couple parents scored messages. For some reason, this week will be a big week for signups, but we have a little less than 200 kids signed up for varsity and JV. Modified's a little lighter, but those kids tend to sign up later. I'm gonna send out another message tonight reminding people that physicals do start tomorrow. So, and in the parent scored message, we sent out the link where they can register right for the landing page.
Any concern that the family ID process may inhibit some of the kids from being signed up for sports? I know that, I think the first time they sign up, it's a longer process the first time.
First time it is.
It's easier. What happens if a parent won't sign their child up, or won't take the time?
We've brought people in and had them sign up on our computers. We've done that in the past. Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about it is everything in Family ID, the emergency cards, everything is there and it's accessible by the phone. So if you're out in the field, I don't have to go searching for emergency cards. Everyone is moved towards Family ID with the athletic registration. It is tough at first, but once you get signed up, you hit your name and it populates everything. So, but we've been using it for 4 years now, so it's people are used to it.
I just didn't know if there were opportunities for kids, if for some reason the parents didn't take the time to.
Yep, we can sign them right up here.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's something I would encourage at modified level to really get the message out to parents of 7th graders, because they may not have been through it before. Either it's their first child coming of age, or their other kids didn't play sports. As somebody who filled it out, I complained about it. Danielle would verify that. I complained this morning, I think, and I was doing it for the 4th time.
I have a question, like when we do our orientations, like from 5th grade to 6th grade upstairs and from 8th grade to 9th grade, do we have is there a spot where if somebody and just sit there and say, hey, here's how you do family ID, you want us to sign your kid up for sports, like, here's how you do it. Like, is there a table in, you know, where people are like there to show, okay, I'm gonna say that, seems like it would.
I can't confirm for the other buildings, but when we did freshman orientation, we had a table to try to get families to engage with Family ID because there is other information for academic purposes that we use it for. So we do offer that support. And our school counselors work with the high school population all the time to get them on Family ID. So we will support them. They just have to indicate to us that they.
Yeah, I mean, I gather that from high school, I'm just thinking the lower levels.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like, if you get them to get used to it, like, early, as opposed to later on when it's a pain in the, you know what, to sign up, and they're already on, it's like, oh, bang, you just do it.
You know, just talking about.
So I'm thinking at every level, you know, there should be somebody there.
Participation in athletics in general, Mike, the Foothills meeting that I attended was more about participation of school districts, like with Johnstown looking to leave, who would we possibly get? We did not talk about the challenge of getting students in middle school to start playing sports. But I know you and I have had conversations, it's a challenge across the country, and COVID certainly didn't help. And in our community, the truth is not as many people are involved at the lower levels. Whether it's parents are too busy, working too much, unable to get their children to, whether it's Fulton United Soccer, Little Huskies, Junior Dragons. Is there a conversation at Foothills about best practices and what districts are doing?
And we just talked about, I mean, intramurals, having our middle school PE staff, push a week, or as that staff did here this spring was, they had a kid do a pre-sign up. I have the list, and we kind of targeted those parents, and the list was pretty good. It's just, it's the middle of summer, are people paying attention to it? Then I did receive some phone calls this week and help some people sign up, so they are starting to pick up a little more this week with the modified level kids, but I do anticipate more JV and varsity level kids sign up this week because there's some kids we're missing.
Maybe as a practice in general, it would be good to open up fall sports signups before the previous school year ends.
You can't do that
Why?
because it's by law, you gotta have your health history forms gotta be within 30 days of the sign-up period. It's against the, so
okay.
that, we used to do that, we weren't in compliance, and now with that 30-day health history form, because things do change,
Yeah.
it's gotta be within 30 days of the season.
Maybe a motivational video, I know a pretty good videographer, we're probably going to do something to entice and encourage participation in athletics. Our athletes graduate.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. I imagine every district.
And we could do something with our athletes in the fall.
Yeah, this guy's into a sound with his style. Pretty good to the janitorial. Thank you, Mike. Anything else for Mike? Or Christina, since she's here,
Can
Jen?
you do something in the fall to like, just have a sign up for interest, who would be interested? And
Yeah,
phone
and-
number or email address?
That's
or
what we
whatever?
did this last spring with
Okay.
the fall athletes, but we can do that again this
You
winter.
create a list of
Yeah.
people to contact.
That's what we did, we targeted those people with parents were.
It's good for children's overall well-being, being part of something bigger than yourself, getting physical activity, it's a great confidence booster, you're hanging around with the right peers. There's nothing bad that comes out of participation in athletics. I know Paula used to complain it dominated our agendas. I wouldn't say it dominates our agendas, but it's a critical piece of what we offer. Next.
Any other questions? I'm sorry. Next item is recommended action. Can I at least say what they are first? Item 6.01 through 16.18. Anybody need anything pulled? Any questions? Want to sit dramatic pause, Vinnie? No? Motion to approve by Kelly, seconded by Ed. All in favor on those? Right, did you need executive?
Brief, very brief. Personnel.
Motion to go into executive session, discuss a personnel item. Mike, seconded by Vinnie. All in favor of that? All right. There'll be no action taken afterwards. Thank you, everyone.